Here we go. Who's ready for some...
Hello there guys, my name is Opal Cadman and welcome. Today I have three main tasks. The first one is to introduce you to Koch Media's brand new premium gaming label. Number two is to take a deep dive into some of the games coming to that label. And finally, number three is to show you what the new label will be getting up to in the streaming world. I want to welcome streamers who are co-streaming this today. Hello. Some of you guys are guys who I have looked up to and watched for many years. And speaking of people who I've looked up to for many years, I am so proud to introduce Jeff Keighley, who will be helping me co-host us through this entire list of games.
Jeff Keighley has infested everything.
How's it going?
Thanks, Opal. It is so great to be here with you for the first ever live stream from Prime Matter. I was honored yesterday to reveal the label to the world at the Summer Game Fest kickoff event. And wow, you've got a lot of games there in that sizzle, over a dozen games. So I know today you're going to go a little bit more in depth to talk about all these games, to talk to a lot of the developers. But for those of you that might have missed it yesterday or just want to see it again, let's kick things off with a look at that announcement sizzle reel for Prime Matter.
I was hoping for some KOCH. Jesus. Volume levels. Not balanced at all.
Sometimes I ask myself what it all means.
Let's begin.
Bloody Nora. It's not hard. Just say everything to one volume. Normalize it. It's in like everything ever. We've come here to deafen you, to give you tinnitus. Where's the cock? I want to see the cock. I was promised cock. It's in the title.
My purpose makes me who I am.
I finally have the feeling we're doing something worthwhile.
Being relied on to succeed where others would fail.
Some of these games are out already.
Prime Matter.
Well, I've got
Yes, guys,
tinnitus.
you just saw 12 games and counting. And that's just the start for Prime Matter. But before we get into these incredible games, what I like to call the juicy bits,
Beg your pardon?
I want to talk to you about what Prime Matter is and who we are. Prime Matter is the new premium gaming label of Koch Media. It dedicates itself to delivering a range of immersive and diverse games from amazing development talent all around the globe. It highlights the varied influences of global studios and their different approaches to game making. The new label will lead through creativity and expression, with games that enthrall players with larger-than-life storytelling, create incredible moments, and above all, they're fun. The team behind Prime Matter is a melting pot of incredible talent, led by seasoned industry veterans and complemented by a young, fresh, dynamic team of multicultural gaming experts. The team behind are gamers at heart, working with such a wide range of passionate developers producing games together by gamers for gamers. And that being said, for all you keen-eyed individuals out there, you would have seen that one game was actually missing in our 12-game lineup for Prime Matter during the video. That is a game that comes from the Embracer family itself. Jeff got to sit down with Todd Hollinshead and talk all about Painkiller.
Is it a
All right,
pain
you
to
saw
play?
the news yesterday. Yes, there is a new Painkiller coming, and Todd is joining me now to maybe give us a few more details. I know this is kind of a fresh project for the team at Saber, and you guys, first of all, I love that you
Saber
and Tim
Interactive
Willits
don't
are
make good
there,
games.
continuing to build out Saber. And Painkiller was a franchise. You and I are both OG. We remember it was it probably 15 years ago at this point?
Yeah, it's been a while. Closer to two decades than one.
My God. All right. Well, but it's one of those classic games. Let me ask you from a Prime Matter perspective, you've been in the industry like me all those years, and we remember that game. Why was this a franchise that you guys wanted to sort of bring back?
Well, Painkiller, when I played it back in the early 2000s, this is a game that had, it was dark, a little twisted, intense, cool guns. These are the things that, kind of hit the nail on the head of what appeals to me in a video game, both as, as a fan and then also as a publisher at Saber. So, we're hoping to capture those same sort of elements and bring those into the new game.
Yeah, you guys are certainly masters of doing shooters from all your time at id, and Painkiller does have a lot of that DNA of fast-paced action with a little bit of a twist to it, and the fact you guys are working with Prime Matter is also exciting. Brand new publisher, brand new label. What do you think of the fact that they're doing this label, and it's such a diverse lineup of companies and partners around it? I know you guys work with a lot of publishers, but it's pretty exciting to see a new label announced. That doesn't happen every day.
No, it doesn't. And, I think that within the Embracer Group, it's just a business that is growing. We've got great leadership at the top. And so KOCH Media is, wanting to expand their publishing. And I think that, the name they chose, Prime
KOCH
Matter,
Media.
sort of is, it's sort of like the primordial soup of putting together stuff from nothing. So, it kind of makes me think
about
that this is what
Pepsi
we do
Media?
when we make video games. You start with Pixel Zero, and then at the end of the day, you make a game. So I feel like that, that kind of resonates with hopefully the type of experiences that we're going to be providing, not just within Prime Matter and working with them between Saber and our partnership, but, across the Embracer Group as well.
Yeah, no, it sounds like they have a lot of games in development, but the fact that you are bringing back Painkiller is really exciting. And I know, fans, of course, want to know a little bit about, what's the game going to look, how's it going to play. Probably can't share a lot of
For
details
fuck's sake,
about it.
you
but
don't
you're
have
kind of in the
anything to
early
show
stages
on
of
it?
development now on this?
Yeah, super early. And, anything that I would share, I'd probably get assassinated for back home once I got back to the developer, because, all these, the first stuff that comes out almost always gets sort of iterated on and changed. And so we're
Downgraded.
trying to keep the lid on the details until we have something that's going to be really awesome to show.
All right. Well, we'll be waiting for it, and we know with you involved, it's going to be something very special. Fast-paced action, I have no doubt. So, new Painkiller coming soon from the team at Saber, published by Prime Matter. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Jeff.
Saber Interactive, no.
I really can't wait to hear more about Painkiller and the fact that Todd and Tim and the team at Saber are working on it. I think we're going to get something pretty special when they are ready to share more. So, exciting stuff in that sizzle reel, Painkiller, Payday, but I know there's a lot more we're here to talk about today as well, right, Opal?
Actually, Prime Matter has 12 games under development right at this minute. We're so excited to show you guys what us and the developers have been up to.
You're repeating yourself.
However, before you see some of the content that we show you today, I do have to make it clear that some of this is pre-alpha, alpha, high-level concept, and some of it is about to release right around the corner. So please keep that in mind.
Some of it's already out.
In today's show. That being said, how do you guys feel about a psychedelic third-person survival horror game set on what it means to go on a journey about self-enlightenment and what happens when it all goes wrong? I got to speak with the developers of The Chant, work in progress title, about their game and who they are.
Our game is about a group of people who go to a spiritual retreat to seek enlightenment, and they basically get a little more than they bargained for. And your character has to deal with her own personal issues as well as the cosmic terrors that become awakened.
Cool. So what type of genre is this game?
I mean, it's a bit hard to pin down with the with all the different influences and styles of gameplay, but I'd say we're probably a survival action horror game.
Okay. Cool. And what
An
was
early
the
access survival
what was the thinking
horror
behind
game?
that genre? Is it something that you guys like, or is it just it came left field? What's your decision behind that?
Personally, we always wanted to make a horror game. A big part of our core team have a background in third-person sandbox games. And we really wanted to combine, action mechanics, deep storytelling, and we felt that the horror genre was a really exciting space to take that background and play around with.
So, kind of sticking with the horror genre, why did you decide to go with that theme? It's not really like normally what you would see, this whole spiritual awakening thing. So what was the idea behind that?
We thought it was just kind of an interesting territory to explore. There's a lot of influence from that with like folk horror of the 70s and giallo horror and so forth that really inspired us more from a film standpoint. And taking
Not
that kind
a
of
fan
aesthetic,
of the
something
way
that was very sensational,
presenters
very colorful,
talk to you
and
like you're on a kids
mixing
show.
it in with
And what was the inspiration for this game?
And exploratory game mechanics.
You're talking to a cynical 23-year-old man.
So kind of speaking about your inspirations and stuff, what video games, real life media has inspired you to create
And
this
here's your
title?
blue Peter badge.
Well, going way back when Resident Evil 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. Alone in the Dark, Eternal Darkness. So a lot of games are very inspirational to us. Our game actually started off as a game with fixed camera angles and so forth, and then we over the course of
So it's an actual survival horror game?
Just especially really focusing on bringing more of an
show it then,
action element
'cause I
to
like
it.
those games.
We've since switched to an over-the-shoulder camera and haven't looked back.
So kind of talking about changes and what you guys are doing on the development side, how close is the game to like the original concept? I understand you guys are still developing the game's quite far out, but from your original concept to where the game is now, how much has that differed?
The core story and I'd say the aesthetic and the themes, those all remain intact. I'd say our gameplay, as our team size grew, we added deeper mechanics. I'd say more action to the game. Our game actually has a fair amount of combat in it, especially on the melee side. Those were things that weren't too prevalent in our original concept, and a lot of those things are just kind of based on we're very small.
I like
team
this
at
kind of
first, so
stuff.
We're still a relatively small
not
team,
in
but,
a game show
every
like
new
this.
person that
I like to
joins,
watch this behind the scenes interview
brings
stuff.
something new to the mix.
But like in
So
my
I'd
own
say on
time,
that end, the game is.
I find
the
it
game has
interesting,
evolved
but
in,
it's not what I'm here for
scope
currently.
And depth of gameplay.
Awesome. Kind of sticking on that point of, you got a small team, there's a lot of challenges that comes with that. What was the hardest part of making the game so far?
The hardest part
Games
was
are a
probably trying to
visual
make a game
medium.
that,
Show it.
Has
Fucking
more
show
realistic
it.
production values, because that's where our background comes from. On a smaller scale and budget. So for us, we had to be very strategic. Utilizing Unreal, we wouldn't have been able to build this game without utilizing an engine like Unreal. Previously, we had worked on more proprietary technology. And that's also great because new people that join the team can get up and running on the engine quite quickly. In addition to that, we've been using photogrammetry from the start. For both our environments. All of our characters are also scanned actors, and we're using, also tapping into a lot of what's going on in our city. Vancouver has a pretty big film industry, so really tapping into the film and the effects industry and tapping into that area of expertise to just kind of try to do things as efficiently as possible.
So you've mentioned like experience in the past and also kind of how rich Vancouver is. How much does that come in handy when you're working on the game?
Oh, it's been extremely beneficial. Vancouver, is home to a lot of AAA studios. A large portion of us work together.
I don't want to hear your life
Rockstar
story.
and United Front Games, and we also have people who have worked at the Coalition and EA.
That's
as well as
great.
Some
That's not
smaller
the
independent
Coalition
studios as well.
and
in
EA.
addition to that, having the film industry here, where we can utilize local talent. We're working with union actors. We're scanning actors as well that we're using for our characters, and we're actually currently auditioning a couple remaining characters for the game, and as well as doing the finishing touches on our new motion capture studio. So we're going to be.
This game could be fucking
doing a
anything.
full,
We don't know.
Cinematics push over the coming months.
It could be like Resident Evil, or it could be like Until Dawn.
Place to be right now.
Awesome. Sounds great. In terms of exciting things, when it comes to this game, what are you most proud of at the minute where you are?
I think
we're proud of the fact that we have nothing to show yet.
Is just what a small focused team can do when they're all sharing the same goal and vision. As I said earlier, we come from different backgrounds, but everyone's managed to come together and really deliver an amazing amount of work for the team size we have. And it's really exciting to be working on a smaller team again, and just having that kind of energy where you're working with everyone on the team day to day.
Yeah, I imagine that is a lot different to probably what some of you are used to coming from those massive studios. So finally, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like KOCH, and also,
this isn't
being
for the
featured on their
business
brand new
investors.
label?
This is for the fucking people who
truly
play
an
the
exciting,
games.
Place to be. We've been kind of pushing our game as far as we could, and this partnership is really helping to provide more reach and more resources, but I think most importantly also just having a partnership on getting feedback and helping to really expand and push the vision of the game. We've already received a lot of feedback on the title, and being a small team,
I wish I had a vision
we're often in our
of
own
the
little
game
echo chamber
right now.
And even in a short period of time, we've been able to act on a lot of the feedback, and the game has improved considerably since then.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time. It's been awesome to talk to you and find out a
Great.
little bit more about what you guys are
Coming
gonna
up,
be
a game
offering
that's
for
been
the
out
new
for
label,
3 years.
And I can't wait to let gamers finally get their hands on the content. So thank you for your time.
From psychedelic horrors to internet rumors, our next developer created the huge open world of Bohemia and took us on an adventure through the Holy Roman Empire. However, there have been some leaks that this action RPG may have a home on the Switch. Opal sat down with Warhorse Studios to try and get to the bottom.
It barely runs on PC.
Kingdom
You
Come
can't put this
Deliverance
to...
on the
no.
Switch.
No.
That is quite some news.
No.
Yes, that's true. Kingdom Come
No.
Deliverance is coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Oh
And as
dear.
you said, it's about gamers, devs, and games. In our case, or in this case, actually gamers play an integral part in the story.
What do you mean?
Well, some kind of confusion happened in the end of last year. We Warhorse Studios, were preparing the release of the Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition on PlayStation and Xbox, but someone most likely ticked the wrong box in Japan, and it looked like it's going to be released on Switch as well. Of course, by that time, there was nothing existing like that. We were not even thinking about the possibility that Kingdom Come Deliverance could go on the Switch. However, Nintendo Japan took this information, some Japanese media, and then the snowball started rolling. All of a sudden, it was the talk of the day. Kingdom Come Deliverance is releasing on the Switch. But as I said, nothing like that was planned at all, and we didn't even think about that. Now, a few months back, and we think it was still somehow cursing around in the Nintendo database. Nintendo
never even heard of
Spain
this.
posted a picture on Twitter where they had different pictures of open world games, and they were promoting already existing open world games on the Nintendo Store. And if you clicked on the picture, actually there was nothing like Kingdom Come Deliverance, of course not, because as I said, nothing like that is existing. However, again, it created confusion. People were talking about it again, like, okay, so is it coming, is it not coming? But for us, actually, And as I said, we didn't think about that until that time. For us, we started to think. We started to think there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of buzz.
And here's
People
the Switch
actually talking
in
about
16
us,
by
reaching
16.
out to us, like they seem to want Kingdom Come Deliverance on the Nintendo Switch. So we started to think. And since we are already in the Koch Media family, or
He
the
called it
Embracer
Koch as
family,
well,
and
look.
there's a lot of talented studios, so is Saber Interactive, and who but them would be actually capable of bringing the Kingdom Come Deliverance version on the Switch. So we sat together, and now we are here talking about the Nintendo Switch version on Kingdom Come.
So what you're saying is that a community of gamers made this happen?
More or less, yes. The community
What?
feedback we got,
I
of
don't
course, was a
believe
big
it.
drive for this
Why are
entire
you talking
project.
like
But
this?
this comes from our general background. So think of the Kickstarter project we had in the day. So without the community, there wouldn't be any Warhorse Studios or any Kingdom Come Deliverance. So we always try to be very close to them and working together with them, and even coming up with crazy ideas together with them. So for instance, the Savior Schnapps, our own liquor we created later, was actually a community idea.
Promoting
We have
alcohol.
our own beer brand. We recently released a blue brick set, like a building set for Kingdom Come Deliverance buildings.
Have a cigarette.
And now one of the latest projects is the Kingdom Come Deliverance soap bar,
Oh,
which
for
should
fuck's
give you
sake,
the real
are you
medieval
taking
smell.
the ever-loving piss?
In that case, I must say, it actually medieval smells actually pretty well. And we are coming up with crazy stuff like that all the time. Our next new merchandise project is a Farkle boxed board game, kind of. So Farkle, for those who don't know, that's like this Kingdom Come Deliverance minigame, a dice minigame you can play in the game. And now with Griffon Studios, we are coming up with a boxed version you can get and play Farkle at home against your friends or against your family or whatever. So that's pretty cool if you ask me. But generally, if you're interested in these kind of stuff, just check the Warhorse Studios
I
social
don't wash
media
myself.
accounts. You
I
get
let the
all
natural
information
stink
you need there.
of my lovely smell
My favorite. Soapy hot
rain out.
news. Speaking of soapy hot news,
Oh, for
how do
fuck's
you
sake.
feel about Warhorse being under the new label
Oh my
Prime
god.
Matter?
Oh
It's
my
a huge honor,
god.
of course.
Oh my
we were working
god.
together with Koch for over 4 years already. In 2019, we then even became part of the entire Embracer family. So that was a big thing. And now being able to take part at the beginning of something new, be there when there's a new label being created, that is a big thing for us. And especially if you consider that we come there as an established partner already, that is really cool, and we are looking forward to a bright future.
Thank you very much, Toby. We cannot see what Warhorse has got cooking. However, until that time,
You haven't shown
Toby,
anything yet.
Bye!
So are we. Thank you very much, and see you.
20 minutes in, they haven't shown
Internet
anything.
Rumors back to reality. We will have more on Kingdom Come Deliverance for Switch as we get it.
They haven't got the
All right, let's
games.
move from RPGs to FPS games. Final Form, which is a working title, is an action-packed sci-fi adventure where you play the role of a humanoid avatar of a sentient spaceship sent on a mission to the edge of the known universe to battle an unstoppable plague. The game is still a long ways from completion, but here's a very quick peek at what's in store.
Oh, they're gonna show something? Oh, fucking. Oh! I'll take anything. I'll take a CGI trailer now. I'll take anything. Reconnect. Connect 4. Oh, yay! That looks very CGI though. That looks very fake. It looks cool, but it looks fake. Looks very Doom-esque. But without any of the red.
Hi, we are Raycon Games, and what you have just seen is the first glimpse of our upcoming game codenamed Final Form.
Final Form is an action-packed, epic sci-fi FPS in which you are a female-formed humanoid machine on a space mission with no return.
Like Metroid.
At the heart of the game is a mystery and alien wars to explore, but also an adrenaline-fueled combat. In final form, it's all about the freedom and power of movement, being a machine
That's not real,
unrestrained
no
by
way.
human weaknesses. There are numerous abilities and gadgets that come with your robotic body, so you can give yourself away to the fantasy of becoming an unstoppable cybernetic goddess blazing away in a spectacular ballet of destruction.
Raycon is located in Warsaw, Poland, with additional team members located all over the world. The studio was founded and is managed entirely by game developers. Since the success of Ruiner, we've grown quite substantially. Currently, Raycon is over 50 brilliant game creators, and counting. We are not a huge team, but what we love to do is to evolve together with our projects, constantly finding smarter and better ways to achieve something truly unique. We build our work environment just like we make games, aiming for the best results and personal fulfillment. We strongly believe that the well-being of team members needs to be taken care of first, before we can pour all of that love into a game. The partnership with KOCH Media has been very fruitful and inspiring. We're happy to be in the avant-garde of the upcoming new label. We're looking forward to share more on Final Form in the future. And in the meantime, please enjoy
They're
the rest
announcing
of the
stuff
show
too fucking
and
early
see you
again.
around.
Stop doing this. It'll be 3 years before that comes out.
I have to say, guys, I love the soundtrack from Final Form. Moving on to our next game, which is just as special. What if you took Lovecraftian and Gagaris themes and mixed it all together with hardcore RPG elements? That's exactly what Massive Works Studios are doing. I got to sit down with their CTO to talk about their game, Dolmen.
You got the crystal, Sonic. Give it back. There's no cocks, but there's tentacles. World premiere. Hello, Step.
Let's speak now to Gabriel
Well, that could have been a game, I don't
CTO
know.
of Massive Works Studios, who joins us now from Campinas near São Paulo in the southeast of Brazil. So, Gabriel, what is Dolmen about?
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here and to participate. Well, so let me tell a little bit about what Dolmen is. Dolmen is that kind of a game where the hero needs to save everyone from an alien threat. Fighting with all kinds of monsters and struggling to keep going forward. Yeah, that's the kind of game that Dolmen is not about. In this game, you actually save the drillers, which is the alien species that live on that planet, but you're going there to help a company save its investment. So you're not really the nice guy that's trying to save everyone. It's just a job. But we hope that the players consider the humanity, the greed, the war, and the spares and the challenges that come to mind along with that job. Taking all that part, and yes, Dolmen is also about fighting all kinds of monsters and struggling. After all, it is a hard game. It's a hardcore game. It's inspired on Souls-like, so yes, you're going to die a lot.
Awesome, thank you. So, when thinking about the name Dolmen, obviously you guys went for that for like a very specific reason. What's the thinking behind the name? Why did you go for Dolmen?
So there was many things that came to our mind when describing the name of the game. Dolmen, which means a single chamber tomb, a megalithic tomb. We thought it would be a good word to describe this stone, this crystal that we have that is related to death. In many ways, everyone that deals with this crystal in the game is close to bringing problems to everyone that is around. And we wanted it to be the main piece of the game.
Cool. Awesome. And now I know that people may or may not have heard of Dolmen before, so it is already out there in the world. But how long has it taken to get to this point?
It's out already?
Oh, it's been a long journey since the beginning of the project. We started at late 2016, so it's been almost 5 years now.
It's not out already.
And probably just a bit more to come out. But we and about our journey, if it wasn't the support that we had since the beginning, either our community, the Kickstarters, and you guys, I believe
people still kickstart games
right now.
Lovely. How have you been inspired by other games? You mentioned like the Souls-like obviously inspires it. You know, are there other games that inspire you?
Have you been inspired by the Souls
what games
games?
do the teams
We
like?
made it hard.
First of all, regarding inspirations, a lot of games came to us when we were producing the game and when we were first thinking of it. Obviously, we are really passionate and we really love.
I put
Souls-like
Dolmen on
games, so
Google and it doesn't come up with
Bloodborne,
anything about the game.
Dark Souls, those games were our main inspirations. But we drew inspirations from all different kind of sources. So we had inspirations in Dead Space, in Mass Effect, and also not only inspirations in other games, but also inspirations in movies and Lovecraftian stories. For example, Alien and Geiger, and those were our main inspirations. About games that we most like and games that our team likes, it's really hard to say because we have a team that ranges from liking Dota to CS and Souls-like games. But what I can really tell you is that everyone of our team is passionate about the project because they love doing what they do, which is a hardcore game.
Yeah, and that makes sense as well when you get hands on
It looks
Dolmen,
really
all
bad.
these inspirations that have come in. So the game is set in a sci-fi universe. Is there any specific reason you decided to go down that route? Was there any other routes that you considered at first?
Yeah. Well, the humans are afraid of what they don't know. And the universe has infinite possibilities.
No way.
There is always something unknown that we can explore in
This game looks terrible.
So that
I was looking on Steam and it looks fucking awful.
Really was
it looks like one of those terrible budget Souls games.
Throw everything that our insane minds could come with. So we wanted to use the sci-fi as a tool to reach this goal, to present the player a world of unknown that he can fear and he can enjoy it.
No, absolutely. And while we're kind of on the point of humans and Earth, you guys are based in Brazil, which is awesome. Are there any specific challenges that you face during development because of that, or just in general?
Yeah, there were a lot of challenges that we faced along this 5-year journey. We obviously had to adapt our workflow in these late years.
Yeah, and your president is a cunt.
2020 and 2021 was a really challenge for us, but it was something that we could adapt well, especially because even that we're based in Brazil, we're not only based in a single location in Brazil. We have people spread across the country. So it was easy enough to overcome that challenge. But there were several challenges since getting development kits and finding people that are really capable of helping us to deliver this amazing game, and that's what we gathered, and that's something that our company appreciates the most and really gives value is the people that we work with. They were really incredible people, and they were really rare over here.
Absolutely, that's really cool. Kind of on that theme of development and challenges, given how development and technology often dictates how a game evolves throughout its development, how kind of close are you to the original concept that you guys came up for Dolmen?
Well, there are different point of views on that answer, especially because we started really small in the journey of the game. For example, it started as a concept from a few friends that get together and they brainstormed it for months, the game. So it diverged in two senses. And one of them, when we first thought of the game is huge and is insane and has a lot of background on it. It has all this universe around it. So a lot of it has been built. So people that loves lore and loves the universe that we are creating, they will have a lot to explore on that side. But the game from its original concept evolved a lot, especially now that we have more tools at our disposal. So on the tech side, it advanced way better than we imagined. Back 2016, we didn't have all the resources that we have now. So of course, we made some sacrifices here and there, and in order to achieve our goal, but we're never happy with satisfied at that point of satisfaction. We want to reach more. At the end of the day, this is also a game, and we are having fun. But on top of all, we want to make a brilliant game for the player.
Absolutely. And speaking about like making the game and the development of the game, seeing as you are lead programmer as well, what was the hardest part of making the actual game?
I believe that we could have gone into different options, especially, for example, we could have wanted to make it a game that was simpler or smaller or not have that many hours of gameplay. But we decided to go to a hardcore game, even though it's a first game of our company. So we decided to go full in into that challenge. We faced a lot of challenges, as I mentioned previously, but I believe the hardest part of the game was finding the correct professionals and focusing on what we were doing, and keeping yourself focused for 5 years on a single game is something that is challenging for everyone, especially right now. So it was a difficult decision, but we wanted to make that. Regarding programming, and as a programmer, there's a lot of that I could keep talking and talking about.
You keep fucking talking and talking.
Multiplayer is always challenging, but finding that balancing fit, so the game that is not unfair, but is hard. So we wanted to aim hardcore players. So this was really something that was hard.
So you mentioned like 5 years of development, which is a crazy long time. How have you kept yourself motivated? How have the team kept themselves motivated?
I won't say that it was easy, because it wasn't. But I would say that most of all, we were always having these meetings in order to play the game. Even now that we are remote, we keep getting up every day and making a meeting and showcasing what we are doing and working alongside each one of us. Also, a lot of things that happened before COVID was the events. The events always made us super happy. So showcasing the game to everyone and getting the players to play the game and see how they react, it was something incredible.
They haven't
for
shown
us.
our game yet.
Really
It's been
made us
40 minutes.
feel proud of what we were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like everyone's missing that event feeling, right? When you actually get to see people on the games and you're like, oh, wow, everyone's loving our games. I think it's something that everyone is missing, definitely. Speaking of kind of motivation and happy times, what are you most proud of this game? What have you guys worked on that you're like, yeah, we did that?
I believe that the universe.
If you were proud of it, you surely would show it, for fuck's sake.
Amazing. It has a lot of background from it. So, for example, we even made some comics for it that we prepared. We have a lot of story, some crazy cinematics. So we're really proud of the universe that we created, this game that we made, and achieving what we did is what makes us feel proud. And now that we have partnered with you, getting to expand that universe and getting to get closer to our original concept and what we meant for it, that is something that makes us really happy.
Cool. Awesome. Speaking of partnership with us, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher?
What's the benefits
like
of
KOCH
signing
on
up
their
with
brand
KOCH?
new label?
That's really that's really a amazing feeling for us. KOCH really helped us and takes care of the operation that we couldn't make it for ourselves. They have an amazing team of QA localization, so we can reach different countries and players everywhere. We have a great producer that worked with us, helping us reach our goals and really deliver the game that we want. And without KOCH opened the doors for us on that sense. And being part of this new label is a great opportunity for us, and also to know other game developers and expand the game community. And and to meet you as well. We really thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. We are so happy to have you guys on board. And more importantly, I am so excited to actually let people play this game at some point under this new label. So thank you so much for your time, Gabriel. It's been awesome talking to you. And yeah, let's release Dolmen at some point under the new label.
At some point.
Thank you for your time and see you later.
Thank you. See you.
We've said that same time.
Now, the first title from Prime Matter will be the beautiful, highly anticipated King's Bounty 2. We have a first look at the gameplay trailer, and then Opal got a chance to sit down and talk with CEO Nikolai Baryshnikov.
Gameplay. What is King's Bounty?
Is off.
Sounds like the one I don't bloody know.
Our land, Nostria, dances on the knife's edge of fate.
Is it like a Diablo type game? It's a Might and Magic spin-off.
My father, cannot lead, and his absence has set the realm in motion. Something is coming. Now the burden of the crown falls onto me. Nostria was flourishing.
Gameplay trailer. Gameplay.
But there is unrest.
It used to be beautiful here. My wife and I had a nice life then.
Conspiracy, sabotage, necromancy. They all threaten this land asunder. But we must unite, for distorted terrors are advancing. Rumors tell of a false prophet, putting our hope in something that does not exist. A seer foretells that our savior is among us. People of Nostria, you laid faith in my father.
All right, man, keep it down.
Do
Jesus,
so
no
to
need to
me.
shout.
We must look towards the horizon, fight back the darkness,
I believe it'll be
and
called
preserve
love.
the light of our land. For Nostria.
Oh, great. There was loads of gameplay in that gameplay trailer.
Thanks for joining me, and I am joined by Nikolai Berinshtakov from 1C Entertainment, who is CEO.
I don't know what kind of game that
and
is.
creator
I don't know
of
if it's
King's
a
Bounty
top-down
2.
Diablo
so King's
game.
Bounty has been years in development and has a 30-year pedigree.
What kind of
so
game
what
is
it that makes King's Bounty 2 so special?
The original King's Bounty was a grandfather of games of series like Heroes of Might and Magic. So it created these turn-based gameplay when you have a hexed-based battlefield and the troops are moving in turns. Like chess pieces on the board. So I think that's
so it's a turn-based tactical game?
The cornerstone of King's Bounty.
Absolutely, and kind of speaking about that, and I know as you mentioned, the first King's Bounties was 1990, and then you had the King's Bounty that you guys created in the 2000s. What technical improvements now that we're in 2021 are you most excited about implementing into the new King's Bounty 2?
Well, I'm a huge fan of the core aspect of the game with tactical battles. And if in the previous games, the battlefield was always a flat surface, so now we're bringing the battlefield into 3D. So we will have, line of sight, hills, like simple example, if your archers are located on the hill, they will do like extra damage for the high ground, etc. So moving the battlefield to 3D is a huge step forward. And then the whole role-playing part, the exploration part, we decided to move more towards games like Fable or Mass Effect, kind of epic, big role-playing games, as opposed to have a top-down isometric view of tiny little character on a horse just galloping around.
I like the sound of that.
We are moving towards this kind of epic fantasy adventure.
So it's like turn-based
This
tactical.
is not like a small indie title anymore. This is one of the
for the
biggest,
battles, but then when you're running about, you can be behind the camera.
So far.
So speaking of the other King's Bounty games, will this King's Bounty 2 follow the other stories of the games, or will it be a standalone title?
No, the game will not follow on any previous games.
Yay.
But even the previous King's Bounties, they all sort of like disconnected. There was like the main protagonist, there are a bunch of evil guys.
Means I can jump into it.
Small quests. And I would say that a previous King's Bounty, it was not like an epic RPG adventure. So the game was more about just battling random monsters on the map and solving some little quests. And then King's Bounty 2 is really, a epic adventure. We had spent like dozens of hours solving puzzles, working with different factions, making decisions that change the character and the world. So we're really moving much more towards an epic RPG. However, this is a rare combination where our game King's Bounty is not an action RPG. It's not a Witcher game where you have to quickly press buttons on the joysticks and battle enemies in the field. It's interesting crossbreed of a high fantasy role-playing game with a tactical strategy title, which I wouldn't. It's not like quote unquote was never done on console, but this is fairly unique combination for the console. And for me, like a great inspiration was a modern remake of XCOM, for example, because I was a huge fan of XCOM that was released in 1994, 1996, and the modern console reinventing of XCOM. This is something we're trying to achieve with King's Bounty. Really make a modern game that works well on modern platforms, that works well with current understanding of gamers, how a game should look like. So we're trying to enhance it in every possible direction.
Show a quick 5-minute battle.
Kind of speaking about the story of King's Bounty 2 and how it differs, it appears to have a darker, more gritty aesthetic compared to its predecessors. What was the design philosophy around that?
I didn't get that at all from the trailer.
That instead?
That's a interesting question. We've been debating on the design approach.
The fuck was that?
And again, as I said,
was that my PC?
We spent a lot of time prototyping,
or was that on
working on the
stream?
gameplay and the looks and the art of the game. Previous game had this more cartoonish, kind of fancy indie look, but we decided we are now trying to play in different league. We're trying to make a much bigger title, a big game, an epic adventure. We've been, astonished by, modern fantasy titles, both in Hollywood and in games, and we thought that this is a good idea actually to upgrade King's Bounty to what we call
trying
like
to
high
ape
fantasy
Hollywood.
or like realistic
Please.
fantasy. So it's not a dark fantasy like Kingdom Come when they're like, dirty peasants, everything is bad. No, it's more like, as I said, like high fantasy. Epic characters. If it's a dragon, it looks like a dragon, not like a toy. If it's a villain, he or she looks like a real bad person. So that was the main philosophy. Plus, game development evolves, and I don't think that it's a good idea to take a game of 2008 and just make a replica with slightly enhanced graphics in 2021. So you need, especially for consoles, there's a specific expectation from somebody coming to the store or buying the game digitally or online. Okay, this is like a $49.59 game. It has to look graphically and gameplay wise like this.
I don't think it does. I don't think it does. I disagree. Still.
Yeah, so we've mentioned that this game combines different kind of like ways that you can play the game, basically.
Play styles.
From
Is that
third-person
word you were looking for?
RPG elements to this unique fighting system, this kind of chess-like fighting system. Kind of, why did you choose, with the evolution of game design and how people play games, why did you choose to stick to these hybrid game mechanics? Do you think that this is kind of what makes King's Bounty?
Absolutely. I think you got it spot on, so I don't even need to answer.
Just the Tell Don't Show conference.
Again, there's a grandfather of turn-based games. So if you remove tactical combat from King's Bounty, then it becomes, I don't know, Mass Effect or Kingdom Come. So so we can play around with evolution of this gameplay, make it more fun or realistic, but obviously this is the core. So this is a tactical game with a lot of role-playing aspects and high fantasy aspects, and not the other way around. So again, gamers who like RPG with shooting elements, games like Cyberpunk, this King's Bounty is probably not for them. I'm sorry, just
get the fuck out.
Game.
You won't like it here.
Go away. We've mentioned kind of this new 3D world that you're creating when it comes to the fighting style, and then these RPG mechanics and making this world feel more alive and more exciting. What was actually the hardest part of you making the game? What took the longest time? What kind of caused you the most headaches?
Hard to say. Again, first of all, this multiple platform game, so there are specific technical issues that prolong the development. If you make just, let's say, a PC title or just a PlayStation game, then you are not having a headache of porting to different platforms, getting different specifications, TCRs, approvals. So that adds a lot. And then secondly, the production itself, as soon as we went away from this kind of cartoonish easy-looking isometric view into a 3D high fantasy and the production of assets. So we wanted to build like a huge map. We wanted to populate this map with a lot of characters that would just move around, go somewhere, have their own like stories. Then we decided to, instead of having like text dialogues, we decided to produce a lot of engine-based cutscenes to push the story, to explain what's going on. So we even had to buy our motion capture studio. We worked with like a dozen actors, and there are hours and hours and hours of in-game based cutscenes, which in the past could be just dialogues and pieces of text. That was another huge complication.
No, absolutely. And then the final question, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like KOCH and being on their brand new gaming label?
She asks them the same questions every time.
A lot of additional support.
It's like we're going through the same interview every time.
I'm not sure that all gamers understand how games get to the market. So making
we know games are hard to make. No one is confused about that.
Is only half of the puzzle.
It still doesn't stop people. It still doesn't
support
make you.
Production people.
People pay money for it.
Localization.
You're not immune to criticism.
Manufacturing retail units,
we know
putting all
things
this
are hard
units
to
into
make.
the retail shops in the world, making mass market communications. So we decided to cooperate with KOCH Media. That seemed to be the ideal partner. So we are on the market for many years, and
you know,
I would say
spend 20 hours a day
I
at
was
work
personally a bit
and
scared
sleep under
if we
your
do it just ourselves,
desks.
that we might
We
not
know the gaming
have,
industry
human resources
is terrible.
To deliver the information about the game itself. You know, we'll work with all the platform holders as effectively as in a co-production and co-publishing with such esteemed partners. You know, KOCH Media Embracer Group. So I'm quite happy.
Awesome. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for your time, Nikolai. And I cannot
No
wait for
gameplay
people to get
trailer.
their hands on King's Bounty too.
That's not a gameplay
Me
trailer.
too.
That is
Years
not
of
a fucking
development.
gameplay
That-
trailer.
that's gonna
No
be one of
way,
the
Jose,
the
is
most
that a
exciting
gameplay
days for
trailer.
me in 2021.
We have 12 titles.
And you haven't shown
We keep saying it.
one yet.
And honestly, I shouldn't have a favorite. It's like picking between a favorite child. However, this next title speaks to me on a gaming level unlike any other. This third-person action-adventure shooter.
It's shit Returnal. It's even shitter Returnal.
Horrific, nightmarish creatures. Think Alice in Wonderland
Think Returnal
meets Alien,
with
or
a
as
shit
one
budget.
US journalist put it, Tomb Standing. Guys, sit back, relax, grab a pillow. 'cause
I need
you
a pillow
get
to sleep.
A world-exclusive look at Scars Above.
Good job. Dr.
Oh,
Ward,
it looks
Dr.
fucking
Yoshida, get to the
terrible.
bridge, please.
Stop it.
Time to see
You're
what's
trying to beat
inside our
AAA games and you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. Oh no. Stop trying to make AAA games.
Telemetry check.
Telemetry check. Here go.
Oh no. Look at the motion blur. Fuck my life.
Wow. How is this possible? What planet is this? How did I end up here?
You crashed. And you're gonna repeat this over and over again. Fuck me.
Log entry. The gate has an internal conduction system. The 3 points on the rim
I bet they
seem
were pissed
sensitive.
when they announced Returnal. They were like,
targeted blast
fuck,
of
we're
electricity
making a
should
game
cause
that's
a
just like
reaction.
Returnal. I told you it was just like Returnal. I told you. I'm a genius.
The debris. It's from Hermes. It must have splintered off as it entered the atmosphere.
It even looks like the Returnal assault rifle, for fuck's sake.
It's still intact.
It looks exactly like the submachine gun. It looks exactly like the submachine gun. Literally, fuck me. How the fuck? It looks the same. Wow.
What the hell was that?
It's discount Returnal. Well, you can at least hold more than one weapon at a time. Thank God for that.
Log entry. The creature has multiple salivary glands in its thoracic region that seem to produce a highly
It's
venomous
so like
secretion.
juddery and janky. Here's a puzzle. Shoot it.
Wow. The whole place is covered with some kind of
You being sarcastic, Nina?
residue. Looks like Robinson managed to connect the MPU to the pillar.
Well, like, how much is this game going to be? Is it going to be 40 quid, 50 quid? Or is it going to be like 15
This will
pounds?
help me get through that tissue webbing. And I'm taking the MPU.
It's Lara fucking Croft as well. She looks just like Lara Croft. There's no way this is going to be full price. They cannot sell this at full price. Like, it's fucking Returnal. but like boots on the ground version. We're bringing Returnal back to boots on the ground. The boots on the ground experience.
Who were the architects of this
You can see the frame rate from Shadowplay. The frame rate in the corner from Shadowplay.
Or as a testament to their might.
Fuck me.
Were they looking for answers?
I give
or
up.
Solving a problem?
Oh my god!
Was that Shadowplay or was that Steam's one? I actually can't remember. Shadowplay, yeah. I'm guessing that's how they're recording it, which is good. Shadowplay is a really good screen recorder.
This
Doesn't
thing
have
is
really any
huge.
frame rate impact. It has a minimal frame rate impact. Oh, audio cut. Then a second. So we see the first fucking gameplay, like an actual gameplay demo, and it's for this. But they've taken the combat from the new Tomb Raider games and put it in a sci-fi universe of Returnal.
The appendages are dripping with the fluid that's.
Is this gonna be all made up in your head as well?
There's the brain, the neural pathways leading to various organs. The pseudocerebrum seems to be generating an electrical charge.
So much motion blur, it's ridiculous.
This neural pathway is conducting large amounts of bioelectricity. This gland is secreting the.
It's a good thing they've said, well, Premiere, I would never know.
The cocktail of digestive acids is dissolving local plant life into homogeneous matter. The process seems to be aided by bioelectricity.
Jesus. I like that. Wasn't Genshin Impact does that, or Genshin Impact? I like you make ice as a platform. Wow, there's like a flat texture at the back of his mouth. Wow.
That really was something. And last week, Opal had a chance to talk to the developers
I'll give you that,
at
Jeff.
Head Games and ask them what their game was all about.
Hello there, guys. Joining me now from Novi Sad in Serbia is
Feliz
Ivan
Navidad.
Zorkic, game director at Mad Head Games, who's going to tell us all
They're
about
fucking
his
mad,
new
all
project.
right? Jesus.
So,
to make
Ivan,
that.
what's Scars Above all about?
Hey there. Scars Above, an alien object appears near Earth, and a team of astronauts is sent to explore it, to do a close-range scan. However, for some reason that I don't want to go into now, this results in them in an event which causes them to be transported to an unknown alien planet. So our protagonist, Kate Ward, who is a mission specialist, she's an astrobiologist with a background in engineering. She's one of the members of the team of
Nothing
astronauts
like Returnal.
of the team called SCAR team, which is Sentient Contact Assessment and Response. So she is on the ship doing the scan, and she ends up on this.
Have you heard of a game called
stranded
Returnal?
on this alien planet. So one moment she's with her team in the ship, and the other moment she's on this strange planet alone. So she explores, she finds out that her team is also stranded on the planet. She has to find them first. And it seems that some time has passed, she doesn't understand why. And also the planet is very hostile. So there's a bunch of dangerous creatures, monsters, and everything seems to want to kill her and the rest of her crew. So she needs to, find out what's going on, solve this mystery. How did they end up here? What does this planet want from them? And the story unravels, and she actually learns about the place and learns about the mystery behind it. But it's all about like being stranded on this kind of scary, but also in a way strangely beautiful world, and facing a lot of nasty creatures and monsters.
Yeah. So it's like kind of keeping on that theme of the realm of possibility and whatnot. How much in the game has its roots in the real world, and how much is just plain crazy sci-fi?
Well, it's mostly sci-fi, but the themes come from the real world. So they're inspired by the real world. I think the best stories come from the real world, even if they're, about, as I said, dragons or fairy tales, and of course, spaceships and space exploration. Like, there's always this component. So on one level, Scars Above is about reason versus terror. And this is a very important topic to me, and that's a very real world topic for me. Like, in our world, a lot of bad things come out of fear. And this fear, gives birth to some unreasonably
Fear was a great
dark
game.
actions.
What are you talking about?
Which lead to more bad things and more fear and more bad things. And in a way, Scars Above is like, for me, a metaphor for reason standing up against terror. Science against darkness, knowledge against ignorance.
So apart from kind of staying within sci-fi, and obviously that kind of opening up the possibility that this can actually happen makes sci-fi what it is there any other important reason to you to keep, that sense of realism still there in the game?
So there is, like, yes, there is a reason to keep realism, but I think the better word is to make it believable. So, like, if you go for absolute realism, you're kind of limited on what you can tell, the story you can tell. It kind of is like there is fiction element to the sci-fi, right? But we want to make it believable, and the reason why this is important is because I would like to create this what if vibe. I would like it if people actually ask themselves, like, what if this really happened? What would I do if I were suddenly stranded somewhere on this strange, far away from home world, surrounded with monsters and terrors? Like, if you make this believable, people might actually think more about it. So we don't want to go like super realistic, but we do want to make it believable, so that because immersion is really important, so that people get immersed in this world and start thinking, like, what would I do if I was in this situation, and what if this was really, like, what if this happens someday? What if an alien object does appear near Earth someday, and what would happen?
Absolutely. And then you mentioned the lead protagonist, Kate Ward. You told about her job title. What else about her? Who is she? Why is
She's
she?
a woman. Kate is awesome. We love her. So Kate is a very strong and very capable, but also a very caring
independent
person.
female.
So she's an astronaut. She's a scientist, a team member, a colleague, an explorer, and she always has like this childlike scientific curiosity. But one thing she is not, and that's a warrior, like a trained warrior. She's not a soldier, so she's not like a space
She handled the gun perfectly fine there, though.
And she does
fucking like
end
Lara
up in
Croft,
a situation where, like,
the remake,
she needs to,
the reboot
fight
of Lara
for her
Croft
life.
again, isn't it?
So that's a theme that's kind of like really interesting to us. Because the fact that she's not a trained combatant doesn't mean she's not capable. So she has like a strong will, a sharp mind, and she's very brave and tough, but like she's under tremendous stress in our game, and we want to show how vulnerable
God, I can't
she
believe
is,
I've killed someone.
I'll
kill 100 other people.
Because true courage doesn't, it doesn't come out of lack of fear. It comes in face of fear. So we do want to show this fear, and it's actually like this. The fact that she's overcoming this, like fighting her emotions, fighting, all the stress, that makes her courageous, and that's great. So she gets frightened, she fights her emotions. She's susceptible to panic, which I think kind of makes her relatable. Like she's not like, I'm all out of gum. I'm kicking ass and chewing bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum. Like that's not her. She is like, her heart pounds, her voice breaks, she trembles. But then, and that's what I really like when her voice breaks, when she's like really scared, but she like clenches her fist, and the adrenaline kicks in, and she pushes through, no matter the obstacle, and she does it using her mind, and using science and using her cunning to craft these weapons and gadgets and survive against the odds.
Awesome. So you mentioned that Kate's a team player and that Scar gets sent up. Who else is in the team? Who else are we going to be meeting on this adventure?
So she's a part of a 4-person team. There is the commander of the mission, Commander Robinson, Richard Robinson, and he's like a person with a military background, like a pilot and an officer, and he is the commander after all. But the rest of the team are mission specialists, because this is also kind of like the idea that it's this alien object appears, we send scientists and explorers trying to figure out
they're
what's
going to
going
show
on.
Payday 3 at the end,
Kate
and that's
is
the only
joined,
thing people probably want to see.
By her close friend Tamara, who is and also like a scientist and an astronaut, and by Mike, a little bit younger member of the team, but who is also like a communications expert, and like they're all scientists working together to solve this mystery. But Kate does get separated from them, and part of the game is actually uncovering the fate of her other team members, and I don't want to spoil anything, but Kate obviously cares a lot about her teammates and her friends.
Speaking of best feelings that you can have, what are you most proud of up to date of Scars Above?
I'm actually gonna give you a corny but very true answer. I'm most proud of the team. So like making a game is
the
a
problem
huge
with
effort,
E3. There's too many games in one go.
Focus,
too many.
Energy, dedication, but also like cooperation, communication, support. So it's just like looking at a group of people working together on a common goal. That's really inspiring, and I think that's truly the case with any development team. Like when you ask them like what you're most proud of. And I keep thinking like one day in the far future, I may actually forget some of the details during the development, but I will always remember the people I worked with.
That's awesome. And then last question, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like KOCH and being on their brand new
Why do you like KOCH?
There's a bunch of benefits, but like, having access to certain resources, to experience. This is a game, with many firsts.
Why is KOCH a valuable resource?
Having someone to just like share thoughts and share the experience is really valuable. But on a personal level, I have to say this, and I'm being perfectly honest. Like the biggest benefit for me was meeting a bunch of great people on your side, and I truly mean this. Like it's a continuing pleasure to work with you. Not just
nice people don't make good
games. Not just talking about the game or how we can make it better, but just like we talk a lot, as you know, like we chat about various things. Just meeting you guys, like it's a tremendous boost to what we're doing. And I don't want to downplay like the obvious benefits, because there's a lot of them, like their infrastructure, the resources.
Money.
But for me personally, it's just like meeting and getting to hang out with you guys. That's really awesome.
Absolutely, and it's a pleasure to hang out with you as well, Ivan. And thank you so much for your time. I cannot wait to let people play Scars Above, because I know that we have so much fun with it in the office.
I'm not playing that.
So thank you very much. And yeah, we can't wait to see more.
In case you missed it.
I'm looking forward to people playing the game. We're really excited about it. And thank you for this talk. Yeah.
And now for something completely different. When Brian Fargo himself, the granddaddy of top-down isometric RPGs, says he is excited about a game, that's gotta mean Prime Matter is getting something right. Encased is an isometric dystopian sci-fi RPG scheduled for release this autumn. And this new trailer, which we're unveiling today, should give you a pretty good flavor of what the game is all about.
It's 1976, and the future has arrived.
That looks decent.
But here's the skinny.
It's like Outer Worlds. If it was top down.
Cronus was formed after a dome-like structure was discovered 5 years ago. Was it from our ancient past? Was it made by aliens? Does it run on perfectly harmless nuclear power? We need to know, and humanity is waiting for you to help unlock its secrets.
It's top down.
Descend into the
really
dome
is.
itself and join one of our incredible research teams. The only question
power
is,
armor, look.
which wing of
Fallout.
Cronus is the best fit for you? If you like taking orders, cracking heads, ultra-violence, and guns, lots of guns, then the Black Wing is for you. Can you build and repair incredible technology, but not expect any credit for it?
Is this
You
the
sound
same
like an
universe as
engineer
Outer
to
Worlds?
us. Welcome to the Blue Wing. Are you a doctor, scientist, mathematician, or any other type of brainiac? We've got you covered in the White Wing. Do you like taking credit for the hard work of others, but
The
never
Black
do
Wing?
anything yourself? Those forms won't fill themselves. That's management, mister. And the Silver
The
Wing
Silver
awaits.
Wing.
Are you a criminal, prisoner, or have no discernible skills whatsoever? Then you're coming to the Orange Wing, like it or not. Are you ready for adventure? Are you ready to make the
Just
change
you on your own
with
then?
us?
No teammates.
Are you ready to love it so much that you'll never want to leave? Then join Cronus and take the second giant leap for mankind.
Something that looks
under
good.
the
I
dome.
don't believe it.
And that's not all. Opal got to sit down with the creative brains
The same
behind
interview
Encased.
again.
Check it out.
Let's go to St. Petersburg in Russia and speak to Vyacheslav Kosahin, creative director of Dark Crystal Games and the brains behind their upcoming isometric RPG Encased. So, Slava,
In case you
what
missed it.
is Encased?
So Encased is an
So in
old
case
school
you missed
RPG in the sci-fi
I need a week.
post-apocalyptic setting, basically.
Awesome. So the name Encased is kind of, it's a word and it has various meanings. What's the thinking behind the name?
The thinking behind the name comes from the setting of the game, from one main entity of it, which is the dome. The game takes place in the anomalous zone called the dome, which was found somewhere in the last unknown desert on the Earth and on our planet. And well, basically people who get in there, various scientists, technicians, soldiers and adventurers, they can't get back. This is sort of a one-way road. So those guys who explore the dome, they are encased in there, which I think makes some sense in this regard.
Absolutely. Yes. So I know that you guys have been developing this game for kind of a long time now. How long has it actually taken to get to the point where you are now?
So we are developing the game for 3.5 years now. We started late in 2017 with some pre-production, but obviously we have thoughts about a project like this for years and years before that, before those crystallized in something, something that really exists. So it takes 10 years of thinking behind this game, this project, and 3.5 years of actual production time to this point.
So considering how long it takes, how do you guys keep yourself so motivated just on one particular title?
Well, we can't say we have any problems with motivation on our own, because for most, if not everyone on the team, this is the dream
This is Square
project
Enix level of bad.
Comes to life.
So that's fine in this regard. The motivation is always high, but also we are in the early access, and we're really open with the community from the very early stages of the project.
And it's in early access.
And because of this openness and talks with the community, and we have had a crowdfunding, and now we are in the early access.
Oh, we've got crowdfunded, but we still need more money
on the
to
project,
finish it.
Both positive and sometimes negative. Which obviously keeps us motivated. If we would be on our own for those like 3.5 years and some extra time we'll spend on developing this game, maybe the motivation could decline a little bit, but with those constant talks with the community, shared feedback, we're all good.
Awesome. And then kind of bringing it back to the game, given how development and technology often is basically dictates how the game evolves throughout its development, how close to the original concept that you came up with years and years ago are you now with the game that you have currently?
Do you like one of those late night show hosts where they've got a fucking card and they read the same thing for each guest?
Keep it alive. We managed to keep it true. It's a very old school CRPG type game, which is inspired by many golden classics of late 90s and early 2000s, and in that regard, it all those ideas survived through the process, which is really great. Most of the mechanics, abilities, perks, and all those little things which these RPGs are built from, we managed to put it in there too. But obviously, because technology changed and even time passes, some less important things, I'd say, like maybe graphics or maybe art style beats or maybe some topics and themes, we explore those, transformed and changed during the process, because making games and RPGs particularly, it's an iterative process and takes many iterations to figure out what is the heart, what is the idea you want to bring to the players. So those transformed and crystallized during this long development. But the original concept, the very heart of it, it's all in there, which is really great.
Yeah, so speaking about the concept, what's the actual narrative of Encased?
The story of Encased is a story about exploring this anomalous zone, the Dome. The player starts as an employee of this Cronus organization, which is the only organization that controls entire Dome research and studying. There are 5 departments which are called wings. The player can start
people are, like I told you, people are only here for payday 3.
And the story of the game. This is the black wing, which are the security and police services. There are white wing, which are scientists and medics. There is the silver wing, which are the management and ruling wing of the Dome of the Cronus. There are blue wing, which are technicians and engineers, and there is this special orange wing, which contains ex-convicts, which were freed to go to the Dome to do various manual labor.
So you've mentioned that the game is set in the early 70s. Not many games have been set in that time period. What prompted you to pick that specific time period?
Well, we think that the 70s is the perfect time for like our game, what we are doing, because 70s is like the last tick on the timeline of the humanity, while there were some blind spots on the planet. First satellites and first people in space, it's all happened in late 50s and early 60s, right? And 70s is the last spot on the timeline when there are some when satellites do not have this complete web surrounding the Earth and the planet, and there are some blind spots where such an amazing and dangerous place like Dome can be hidden. And from that place, from that time, the story takes its alternative path. Instead of going further to the space, humanity sort of descends into the dome to study it and to do those scientific researches and do those miraculous discoveries, basically.
Yeah, so you mentioned that this is kind of like almost a parallel universe. How far did you deviate from what
she's asking the
actually
same
happened in the 70s
questions
compared to what happens in the
all the
game? I guess
time.
it's seeing as you said that it devolves, it's quite a bit.
Yeah, obviously. So the main topic would be obviously that instead of continuing the Cold War, the West and the East, if we can call those, they instead start to explore the ideas of like internationalism and exploring the Dome together and forming that super corporation Cronus, which is actually the
this makes
only
last night's
foundation
like a fucking masterpiece.
that explores the Dome, controls all the researches and controls the flow of like artifacts and scientific researches which comes from the Dome into the rest of the world. And yeah, those ideas are quite different from what happened in the real world, I guess.
And kind of bringing it back to the real world almost. Obviously, you guys are based in Russia, and life in the 70s was very different than life was in the West. How much of that do you think translates to an international audience once we get out there? And how much do you think people won't understand because they just, no one kind of really lived over there, or no one really knew what was happening over there?
Well, as I said, I think the game pursues the ideas of internationalism when very different parties across the world could put their own struggles, political and other struggles, aside.
He said the P word. You can't say the P word in gaming.
No,
not allowed.
Something bigger when it's combined with everyone is united together to to ascend to be something more and to explore the Dome, its dangers and its discoveries, basically.
Absolutely. Now bringing it kind of back to you guys and the developers again. You mentioned that you were inspired by other games. What games really truly inspired it? Not just games, but media. And also, what do you and the team like as well when it comes to video games?
Well, we are here all the hardcore RPG
Maybe play
fans,
them once
so it's not secret why we, I suppose, picked up a project like this to develop. And it's not a secret that the game is it's in a very hard way was inspired by the Fallout series, and the other great RPG games of late 90s and early 2000s, and some modern ones too, actually.
So speaking about development, what was the hardest part of making the game for you guys?
I think the easier question would be what was the easy part. I can't really come with much things which were easy. It's all it's an everyday struggle in a way. It's a marathon.
Living in Russia.
But it's a happy marathon, and it's a happy everyday struggle basically for us.
Absolutely. And then moving it into that more positive thing, the happy marathon, what are you most proud of when it comes to Encased?
I'm obviously proud of both the team and the project itself.
Seeing one of these interviews,
both
seeing one of these interviews is fine.
And our
seeing the same one
often forget
over
that 3.5
and over
years ago
and
there
over.
was
Like we're in a weird,
there was
it's like we're playing Returnal.
Nothing existed.
It's a cycle,
and
something
here,
slightly
now,
different,
3.5
but it's the
years
same.
Both with the team effort and the feedback which we get from the community, there is this great universe, a curious world which is almost ready to be explored and to be adventured in. inside, basically.
And then moving on to the last question, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like KOCH Media and being on their new label?
So we think that signing with a partner as KOCH Media is really great, because it not only benefits us as developers, but such partnership also benefits our community, our players. We as developers, we get more time to work on the project and polish it so it would be in the perfect state, while our players will enjoy more localizations, which will make the game more accessible to the wider
Echoes of
audience.
the end.
We'll get the
I hope that's not a game, and I hope that's
done,
the actual end of the actual
which
fucking conference.
just make the game better and bring it on some other higher level.
From an isometric dystopian sci-fi RPG to our next title, which is a fresh take on the action-adventure genre. This team, all the way from Iceland, specifically built a mocap studio for this title and has the incredible talent Aldous Hamilton as their lead protagonist. I got to sit down with the guys and ask them, what is this game all about?
So Echoes at the End is a cinematic, narrative-driven action-adventure game about Rin, a person who has trained all her life to be a warrior in service to a throne, and is now searching and finding her own identity as she's cast away from the life she's always known. It's a game we wanted to make all our lives, basically. And for us, what we really wanted to explore was a marriage of a cinematic experience and the narrative, choice-driven storytelling of RPGs. Finding that bridge and union is what really inspired us to go and make our own video game.
Exactly, and such a big integral part of the experience is how you as a player choose to interact with the characters around you, the different companions, the characters that you'll run into when you're going about in the game and trying to solve all the issues that the player that you'll be facing as a player.
What was the inspiration behind it?
We're at a remarkable point in the game industry where a relatively small team is able to tackle such an ambitious vision, and it's actually reasonable. And I think we've just recently arrived at that point. There have been some really great games making leaps in the past few years, kind of paving the way for this as the tools and hardware and software get more accessible and
I wonder how much they are on IKEA. In the early days,
for
watching this shit show of a live stream, you get one for free.
And it seemed unreal to us that it might be at the time. But growing a team and building up the tech and pipelines in-house, we saw that this was in fact possible, and it's an absolute dream for everyone at the company to be privileged enough to work on a game like this and to really shape the game that we all want to make.
Yeah, so kind of sticking on that point of development and how technology often
All these people are
drives
so
the
proud of
direction
their
of
game,
how a
but they
game
won't fucking
evolves
show it
throughout its
off.
development. How close to the original concept is
God.
the game now?
That's a really good question.
This must be what it was
rather
like
close.
to be Bill
I would
Murray.
say we didn't really do any large pivots. We did make some changes, of course, as the vision evolved and as we understood better kind of what the game was going to be and kind of how we scoped it to fit a team that would be able to execute on it. But I think, we were always, from day one that the idea for the game kind of conceptualized, we were looking at the technology that was allow us to make this game, going for really, realistic and stunning visuals.
Cinematic
digital
action
doubles for
adventure
characters,
game.
scanned
What
environments,
does that mean? Uncharted?
next-gen development engines, next-gen game engines. Kind of all those things were in place for us to make the game. I think the primary things that have changed in the making of the game are more in the details of the execution of that, how we structure the story, what kind of game mechanics we want in a game like that, and really what the identity of our game is and how we separate that from other games.
We genuinely have been making this game, even though it is slightly different.
Yeah.
My work as narrative director has not had to change a lot.
Exactly, yeah.
We've mentioned, obviously, at the start and throughout what we've spoke about so far that you guys are based in Iceland and everyone knows the, picturesque scenery of Iceland. Did you get much inspiration from your homeland in the environment?
Yes, absolutely. You know, Iceland is such a phenomenal place to live in, and it's a beautiful country that's been featured in, you know, many films and video games before us. And the funny thing is that us growing up in Iceland, this is normalcy for us. This is what we've been used to. It isn't
we're
until we visit other countries
We've
that
got
we
great
realize that
views, unlike
the rest
your
of the world
shitty
isn't a
views in
fantasy
the
land.
UK.
Oh my God, trees!
Yes. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely inspired by Iceland. And, you know, I was working as a tour guide for the longest time, and a lot of us like grew up in the country from different locations.
You think you're better
And
than
we
us
pulled
just
from those
because
locations in the
you're
game,
fucking
and even for
Icelandic?
some of them, we
How
have
dare you?
nearly one-to-one replicas of them, you know, in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the game itself isn't based in Iceland, of course. We're just taking inspiration from the more fantasy level vistas and visuals.
Because while all this is true, while we love Iceland and while we'd be fools not to utilize the access we have
I feel like
to
such a fool.
Icelandic natural phenomenons to scan and take references from, we don't want to make a game about Vikings. Because it's something that's been done a lot.
Boring.
We really want
Vikings
to
are
make a unique IP that is ours.
So boring.
And that no one has
We've had a lot of Viking
we
games.
touched on characters.
Assassin's Creed
and
Valhalla.
You mentioned the main character at the very start. Tell us about her. Tell us, you know, what made you choose her?
Something
why does
else,
she exist the way
probably.
that she exists.
I'll hand that one off to you, I think.
Yeah, it's always a tricky question to answer without getting into any sort of spoilers.
Yeah.
Valheim,
But Ren is, as I say, she is a character, a person trained from birth to be a weapon in service to the crown. I was really fascinating in exploring the difference between a person that is, the juxtaposition between purpose and independence. And Rin is a character burdened by purpose and chained to it. She has been given a purpose, not of her own choosing, not by her own volition, but one that she has inherent to her birth and very existence. Throughout this game in particular, we want to explore the journey of going beyond that purpose and going beyond what role you are born into and seizing the world by the throat, basically. And I would say that she's born with certain powers that make her both a pariah and a uniquely powerful individual. But with that power come certain challenges and certain
comes great responsibility
superstitions that she's challenged to overcome. I think that's general enough to avoid spoilers.
Yeah,
Would you like to add to that?
and,
spoilers.
You know, just
Spoilers.
to add a layer to that, I think with the main character, she's, you know, throughout the game, you're constantly meeting new people. Kind of, we're setting her in, you know, we start with a
facade.
familiar setting.
There are no
her
games.
kind of role in society, and
There's
her
not one
kind
game
of
here.
What's
No-
expected
no one's
of her,
making
and
any
we kind of
games.
break free from that throughout the game as we meet different characters, and Rin kind of finds her own path and purpose, like Magnus spoke on. And I think that's really where the player also steps in and kind of forms those new relationships that Rin forms throughout the game, and really is an effector on those. I think you know what really
Koch
heightens
Media
Rin
Prime
as a
Time.
character in the
This is a
game
prime
the
time
performance
event.
by the
Prime
excellent,
time event.
actress behind her, who is Aldís Amma Hamilton, who is absolutely phenomenal at portraying such an awesome character.
What's the hardest part of game development so far? I know you guys are still in the development, but what's been the most challenging?
The most challenging part of game development.
I think that's a different answer for every team.
Yes, I think that's a different answer for every game, and I think it even might be a different answer for every team member, depending on the different perspective that they have into the game development. I think for us, you know, it's been vitally important to find the right people to work on the game. And that's a really difficult thing to do, finding the right
For us,
people.
it's been
who
keeping
you
up the
believe in,
facade
who-
that we're actually making a game
you know,
when we're
really
not
passionate
making a
about
game.
making games like this. And we've been lucky enough to find the right people so far, and we have, you know, exceptionally talented people on board with us making this game. And I think while that is, you know, often from the outset, it's an invisible part of game development, but it's absolutely essential and extremely difficult.
Yeah, so you kind of mentioned before that, you know, Iceland's quite small. Does that mean that you guys kind of struggle to find that talent that's out there, or is it quite rich in terms of game
We have this
development?
thing called
So,
air travel.
as usual, Iceland is excellent per capita. We're the best at everything per capita, and among those in the Nordics, we have the most developers. Per capita.
You think you're so great?
That's not really a useful
Iceland,
metric when you look at the fact that we're only like 300,000 people, basically a small fisher town someplace. But Iceland is completely unique in the way that CCP. Another
just because this is awful doesn't mean yesterday's fucking conference was good. That's not how it works.
We have a great educational infrastructure that pretty much covers all the different fields of game development here in Iceland. So we have exceptional talent coming out, and so I think considering the size, we have great access to talent. And another part of it is that we've had a lot of Icelanders who got into game development early. And moved to other countries and then moved back with a lot of experience helping new teams form and build games here. So while it's definitely a challenge to find people in a smaller nation, we're blessed by the fact that we do have exceptional talent here, and we have an educational system that is actively each year graduating new students who know game development.
What Haldor is saying is that we're a nation of nerds.
Yes. And like another per capita is that, I don't know, it's an incredibly high number of people in Iceland who play games at all ages.
Yep.
Like an insanely high number.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
almost,
really
it's
crazy.
nothing like other places,
We
is it?
kind of mentioned what's the most difficult part about game development, but what are you most proud of up until this point?
That's, it's not, it's a difficult question to answer because there's so many things. I mean, making games is, it takes so many people to do so many things for it to go correctly. And I think what we're most proud of is that so far we seem to be doing it correctly, with the great people. So I think what we're most proud of is the team and the progress that we made with this team.
Yeah, I think that's a very good answer in general, that just the talent we've collected around us and the friendships that have formed so strongly within this company.
Yeah.
I think that's invaluable and is what's going to drive it forward.
And then, finally, guys, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like KOCH Media and being part of their brand new label?
That's a great question. So obviously we touched on the part that we're kind of stuck in Iceland, so our outreach is quite limited on an island in the sea. No, but all jokes aside, the main benefit is that it's an extension of the team, and it's a great extension of the team.
Yeah.
We talk about the things that have been the most difficult, and that's building the team, and the things that we're most proud of, which is again the team that we built. And for us, KOCH is a fantastic extension.
If everyone announces it KOCH, apart
it's
from
a publisher full of great people who are really passionate about games, and they're empowering us to deliver these games, worldwide. And I think that is anything
the last
developer and ambitious developer could ask for.
And we are absolutely glad to have you guys. Thank you so much for your time. And I cannot wait to give people more information about Echoes at the end.
I'm going to go at these people. I'm going to go at whoever
all the way to the other.
designed this.
If you like the game Gothic
organised
and
it.
hardcore RPGs, The Last Aura Crew is just for you. I got to sit down with two of the guys from Gold Knights and talk all about them and their new game. Hello there, guys.
Oh God,
Today
they're
I
not
am
going to
joined
show anything
by Gold
again.
Knights creative and game director Pavel Strnad and executive producer Vladimir Gershel to talk about their game, The Last Aura Crew.
Hi, Opal.
Hi, Opal.
So
So
talk
you
about
guys
it.
make
Talk
The
about
Last
it.
Aura Crew.
It's a visual medium.
What is the game about?
It's a visual
It's an
medium.
action RPG where I try to
Do
show
it.
the relativity of good and evil from different perspectives of living and breathing world.
So when you
He's reading a
guys say
script.
living and breathing, what do you mean exactly?
What do you mean?
It is important to understand that The Last Aura Crew is quite challenging and
reading
skill-based
a script.
RPG, but compared to many other titles in this genre, our story does not take place in some dark and deadly realm. Waking up in a living and breathing sci-fi medieval world of Wardenia, players find themselves in the middle of war for supremacy over the whole planet.
There is something interesting about the war, as usually warriors of each side believe that they do the right thing, often fighting for survival and well-being of their people. So the idea of the game is to show the player the war and the euphoria of the winners, but also the misery of the losers, to make the player realize that the number of decisions he can make in the game will affect all the living beings in the world.
So you mentioned that you make choices during the last Oricru. How impactful are they?
The impact is major. First of all, you are the one who decides which side will win the war. But there are many different roads through the game, and you can experience the whole game only after multiple playthroughs. I want to give every player his own experience and try not to push any
when I'm
moral
reading
code
for
of
some
what
reason.
is wrong and what is right. Simply, you make the decision and actions, and based on that, individual characters have their own reactions.
It's like I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so.
You can find your own friends and allies and play the way how you think it's right or fun.
Exactly. Each player can define their own path to side with different factions or betray them and influence the future of each race and in the end the entire planet, basically. And it is not done just by a few choices somewhere in dialogues or by completing some quests, but by your continuous actions
anything.
and decisions.
People can
Let me
say
give you an example.
what they want about the game.
In many scenarios,
Doesn't mean anything.
You're asked
It
to
could be
kill
anything.
The general of Redkin people. And you can obviously refuse doing that, but if you decide to kill him, there are many possibilities of what you can do with his head, which serves as a proof of his death. You can keep it and become hero, or you can give it to the queen and come closer to her heart, or you can give it to another characters of this conflict with different outcomes.
While I'm playing, guys, if I decide to be a little bit mischievous and kind of go down the route of everyone hating me, what does that mean for me?
Yes, there is an option that you will try to do as much harm to do as many beings as possible, and there are some dark characters that will be pleased by that. However, cooperation with them may be eventually very painful for you. That's another interesting thing, that often there is some hidden party involved in many wars, which profits from both sides of the conflict and the conflict itself.
What is the
So there's a
game?
bit of the hidden part in the game, which you can play, but it will be a little bit difficult to play.
So the game has co-op. Can a friend help me with the boss battles? Can we play the whole entire game together? How does this work?
You know those lonely nights when you play games which are super exciting for you, but you feel a little bit sad that you cannot share that experience with anyone? That was generally the idea.
Yeah, there is a great demand for couch play in the whole third-person action
Oh,
RPG
is there?
genre.
No, there's
so
not.
we are sure that for our future audience, the co-op is going to be one of the most or the key features of our game, and that's why we went even farther. We have many situations what can be solved in co-op differently than in single player.
Is it like
so
Divinity-
you can find
Divinity
new
2?
fun ways of
Original Sin?
how to kill some bosses, or solve some puzzles, or reach some special secret areas. But you know, at the end of the day, combat is bread and butter of an RPG. So
An
if you, for
RPG.
example, play as a melee tank, while the second player plays a magic support, you
What
will
kind of
enjoy
RPG?
tens of awesome
RPG doesn't
hours
mean
of
anything
shared
anymore.
Oh, wait,
It could be
so you're
anything.
telling me there's magic and melee? What does this mean for the combat of the game?
Oh my
Well, the
god,
combat is
that
targeted
was
at more
horrifically
experienced
cringy.
players. I'm
You're
very
telling me
much
there's
on the wave of
magic
recent
and
challenging
melee?
RPGs that
That's
are based
never
on the
been a
skills
thing
of
in
the
any
player, timing, and
RPG
stamina.
ever
We are trying
before.
to build some interesting magic
No
mechanism
way.
in the game that would let you use some more than block and fast attack buttons.
What are you talking about?
But you know,
Every
don't forget
fucking
that our
fantasy
world has
RPG's got
sci-fi roots,
magic
so
and melee
what
in
is
it.
for someone magic can be for more developed culture or technology.
But be prepared to die.
A lot.
Like a lot. Yeah, a lot.
Prepare to die.
And finally, guys, I just want to ask you, what does it mean to be under KOCH Media's brand new
What does it
label?
mean?
Honestly, it was the best step we could do in our game development. It helped us dramatically increase the capacity of our development team and focus primarily on the game itself. And yet, we still have the full creative control over the game, and all the feedback we are getting is really helping us to make a better game. So far, it was the best decision ever.
Yeah, I'm very pleased that I could use my long-standing experience with big publishing houses and restructure the game and the team to shape which was the right fit for such a strong partner as a KOCH Media. From the very beginning of our cooperation with Pavel, we were thinking big and aiming at building a really memorable new game franchise. And being part of the starting portfolio of a brand new KOCH Media label gives us a great opportunity to fully achieve it.
Thank
Payday
you
free.
so much,
Payday
Pavel and
free.
Vladimir, for your time.
Payday
It's been
free. I don't
awesome
even like
talking to
Payday
you
2,
about
but
everything
fuck
the
me.
last Oricru, and I just can't wait for people to get their hands on it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
We teased it in the sizzle, and now let's hear from our friends at Starbreeze to talk about Payday 2, Payday 3 and their upcoming cooperation with Prime Matter.
Thank you, Jeff, and hi, everyone. We're excited to be here, excited to talk about Payday, and excited to be working with Prime Matter. At Starbreeze, we see Payday as the ultimate bank robbing experience, inspired by classic heist movies, providing adrenaline-fueled gameplay where you get to experience the thrill of being on the wrong side of the law with a smart plan and a gun in your hand. This is what we've been doing since the original game, Payday the Heist, through the sequel, Payday 2.
We turned it into a fucking grind fest.
Payday 3. And our ever-growing player community, our heisters, continue to be an inspiration for us in everything we do, pushing us to make the best Payday possible.
That's not the third one. Everybody down on the ground.
The world of Payday is an exaggerated reflection of reality where order is kept by the long arm of the law. At least until the heisters turn this order into chaos, giving the law the middle finger.
Unrealistic.
That's when adrenaline truly kicks in and the outnumbered gang keeps beating the odds, often escaping with the cash in a hail of bullets. The Payday universe has an ongoing narrative that has been created over the years. The gang has built a reputation by going after the highest profile targets, setting up some of the craziest heist plans, and going up against some of the most powerful of enemies. And through all of this, the gang keeps coming out on top. In their exploits, the gang has become, as they call it, the tightest crew ever. The wider criminal underworld of Payday lives its own life, where movers and shakers want a piece of the action, or a piece of the Payday gang. In the gang's life of crime, they are way past the point of no return. And as we look ahead for what's to come, the gang will learn that there's no rest for the wicked.
That's real. That's Ron Perlman. That's
This
the guy
legacy
that's in
is
Far
something
Cry
that we
6.
treasure and will build on, expanding on this epic story, taking you all with us into the future of Payday. Many millions of players have enjoyed Payday so far. It's been an amazing journey for us at Starbreeze. On Steam, Payday 2 has the biggest player community of any game. This truly means the world to us.
Of any game?
Payday turns 10 this year,
Really?
but we're only getting started. With our team hard at work, cooperation with Prime Matter and other partners, and above all, a fantastic player community, we are looking to the future with great anticipation.
I'm rich. That's real people. That's not games.
The release of Payday 3 is years away, but we could finish off today with a sneak peek of what we're working on.
Why are you showing
taste
it
of
then?
things to come.
Years away. Years, plural. That's a still. Is that a piece of concept art? No fucking way.
Well, there you have it. Quite a lineup. And Opal, I know we're going to be hearing much more from Prime Matter in the weeks and months ahead, right?
That's a great question, Jeff. Prime Matter will be taking a huge leap into the streaming world. From June the 14th, we'll be streaming 3 times a week, every week, providing you guys with gameplay content,
Like this?
achievement and trophy hunting streams.
We're going to show gameplay content
in
in something that isn't this, where everyone watches it.
We also want to get our developers involved and have it so that you guys get to know our developers better. Not only that, but expect to see a lot more shows from us in the future.
No,
and
please
Jeff
no.
can help us out too.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to see what
It was
Prime
him.
Matter
He
has for us
cursed
in
it.
the future.
He cursed
Thanks
it.
for announcing with
Tim.
us yesterday at
Jeff
Summer
curses
Game Fest,
everything.
and I look forward to being back with you again later this summer.
No worries, Jeff, and thank you for your time. It's been awesome hosting with you, and I can't wait to do more in the future.
That was
And a thanks to you guys
the
watching,
worst
to the streamers who
ever
are co-streaming, to our new
E3
gamers
live stream
who are looking
thing
forward to
I've
the
ever
titles
seen
that
in my
we've shown you
life.
today. We are focusing on making fun, unique, and honest content for you guys. So,
Honest, apart from you don't
stay
show
safe,
anything.
stay
You
cool,
keep it
and I
under
will
a
see you guys
veil
on Monday.
of
Bye.
bullshit. That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. That's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. That is the worst. That is the worst. Worst thing I've ever seen. Fuck me. Nope. 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 No, we're going back. We're going back to Ratchet and Clank. We're going